Hello class, today we're starting our new unit. This is unit 6 on renting. We've talked about mortgages, we've talked about cars, we've talked about credit. Most of those or all of those involved loans and interest. With renting, we're not talking about loans and interest, but we're talking about borrowing. Borrowing the right to use a place to sleep and eat and make your home. Here we go. So on our first day in our intro to renting and leasing housing, we're going to read through some learning targets and just think about what that means and what that would be like. First of all, there are going to be some new vocabulary terms that we're going to talk about, whether we formally write those down or just get used to saying them as we explore this unit. We're going to explain the difference between the tenant, the landlady, and the landlord. We're going to look at which items typically come with apartments and which ones typically don't. So let's get started. First, discussion questions. We'd like you to respond to these, but we're going to discuss them in class as well, just to get your mind thinking about renting or leasing a house or an apartment. What do you already know about renting or leasing? Maybe there are vocabulary terms that come to mind when you hear that. Maybe it triggers something else. Would you please fill out number 1? Number 2, what are some responsibilities a renter, that's you, or me if I'm renting a place, has? Number 3, what are responsibilities that a landlord or landlady in Minnesota might have? The person that owns the property or manages the property that's renting it to you. What are some of their responsibilities? Just off the top of your head, what do you think? Number 4, who do you think is responsible for paying or replacing things like toilet paper, light bulbs inside the rental unit? You don't have to know the answer. This is the beginning of a unit. We are just getting our ideas out on the paper. Next in today's lesson, 6.1a, we are going to read a little bit about renting and housing. Well, we're not really going to read. We're going to watch a YouTube video. How about that? And there are about 7 questions that you're going to answer while watching this, so you might want to do a split screen. If you're in class, you can do it with us and we'll talk about it. If you're on your own, you may want to divide your screen so you can do both. The questions are things like, what's one thing you learned from the video? Big, broad question. How is a furnished apartment different than an unfurnished apartment? They'll define that. List 3 household appliances that are not usually provided by the landlord or landlady. List 3 large appliances that are usually provided by the landlord and landladies in Minnesota and Wisconsin, but they might not be in other parts of the United States. Oh, lie, there's only 4 questions for today, not 7.